We're joined now by Dr. Amy Hagerman, our Extension Ag Policy Specialist, but today we're not talking policy topics, we're talking about how to be prepared in case a disaster strikes. Amy, get us up to speed.
Absolutely. So September is National Emergency Preparedness Month. And this is just a great time to remind ourselves of the small and the big steps we can take to be more prepared in case an emergency or a disaster strikes. And we're very familiar with those kinds of situations here in Oklahoma.
And, you know, I'm sure in those situations people feel really helpless, but if you could do some planning and preparation now, that's the key. Let's kind of start with your kind of personal situation, your home, and that part of it.
Yeah, it's just like when you're on an airplane and they tell you to put your oxygen mask on first before you help somebody else. The reason for that is that when you're prepared, when you're breathing normally, you can better help others in your community, you can better help others in your family. So it's always a great place to start with just your emergency preparedness. Have you thought through the what if scenarios for your own home? What if we have another ice storm and the power goes out again? Have you thought about simple things like, do I have a flashlight handy? Does it have batteries? If we have a heavy windstorm come through and you want to go out and check the damage to your roof, or a tree falls down. Another thing is having that go bag somewhere near your door. We also can't stop thinking about tornadoes here in Oklahoma, even in the fall. Medications. We can't forget about those critical medications. If you've got little kids at home, do you have diapers and formula and things like that? And then also thinking more broadly outside of our homes personally, I especially think about my kids. If something happened here in town and we were separated, do they have that phone number for somebody they can call that is our central point of coordination?
And I think it's good to talk those things over with kids in advance. They kind of file it away, but they have that reference point if they need it. Let's talk about, for business owners, some of the preparation tips there.
Just like we think about our home, we have to think about our business, but then we have additional issues like, do you have a phone tree for your employees in your office that they know who to call if something happens to them, or they knew who to call to check in on everybody else in the office? Backing up critical files for the office. The last thing you want is severe water or fire or wind damage in your office.
And no doubt some of that translates to the farm and ranch too, but what are some specific concerns for producers and landowners?
Weather obviously affects everything we do in farming and ranching. So when you have a severe weather event, it's obviously going to affect everything from your crops to your livestock to your hay, your buildings. So thinking through things for specific kinds of natural disasters is really important. We saw flooding in 2019 that, individuals were really scrambling to try to get cattle onto high ground. Thinking about that ahead of time. Do I have flood-prone land? And what would I do if it looked like the waters were rising? Have I talked to my neighbors about whether I could drop the fence? So OSU Extension has a website for emergency and disaster preparedness that includes things like how to pack an emergency kit for your home. Also, ready.gov has a lot of great checklists that you can go through to just think through some of these different scenarios. And there are some great farm and ranch preparedness websites through Extension Services and the Extension Foundation.
Okay, great information, Amy. Thanks a lot. And for a link to the resources that Amy mentioned, go to sunup.okstate.edu.